Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Three Barrow Farm. Today I'm going to be in my kitchen, and it is a brand new kitchen as well. We've finally had our cabinets put in, so we've got drawers and cupboards now, and things are highly organized, which I am thoroughly enjoying because I am an organised person. I like things to be in their place. The rest of the house is a little bit of a mess at the moment because of the renovations that we've been having, and we're slowly moving through the house and finding places for everything and putting things away and getting rid of things as well, realising that we haven't used some of the things in our kitchen for 10 years, so we may as well pass them on to someone else. One thing I'm super excited about in our new kitchen is that we have an induction stove and an electric stove. We've only ever been using this, very dusty at the moment from the renovations, wood fire oven, and I need to give it a good clean and a good scrub. We haven't been using it, and I've just been waiting for all the dust to settle, all of the bits and pieces to be finished off by the builders before I give it a good clean, because it has gotten really dusty over the past couple of weeks. And one of the things that this electric stove and oven are enabling me to be able to do is to preserve without having to start a fire and warm up the entire house. Now, the reason we went with wood fire is because we're off-grid here, and there's not a lot of energy that we have from the solar that we're able to use the oven and the stove all year round. But I will be able to use it in summer, and we are planning on putting more solar panels up. We've already purchased more batteries, so we have more ability to be able to store that power. And I've been able to use the oven and the stove at night time, which is just mind-blowing because we weren't able to use that amount of power previously. So this week I picked up a box of apricots. They were jam apricots. I've still got a little bit of them left, and we've been eating them fresh, and they've been just perfectly fine. But I made 4 jars of apricot jam and 3 jars of stewed fruit, plus we had stewed fruit for dessert that night. But also my mum has preserved some of the beetroot during our renovations. I wasn't able to do this, so mum has kindly preserved some of the beetroot harvest as pickled beetroot. And today I'm going to be processing more of that beetroot. I've just harvested it this morning, and I'm going to be making some pickled beetroot with the beetroots that I've harvested. And also I'm going to use the tops to make a frittata, and I might dehydrate some of the leaves for my green powder that I make. So to put in with the kale that I've already dried, and then I'll whiz it all up together, and I'll just add that to soups and stews and anything, smoothies, anything that I feel I can add a little bit of green to. So I'm super excited to have these done. I'm ready to take the clips off these and pop them away. I've just got to write down what is in each jar, and then we can move on to making more pickled beetroot. So I did a bit of a no-no in the preserving world, and I reused the rings of the Fowler's jars, and one of them hasn't sealed, but all of the other 6 sealed just fine. This one is going to go straight into the fridge, and we will eat it very soon. So you can see that lid is not closing. So I'm definitely going to throw this ring out when I'm done. But when I dehydrate herbs and I put them in one of these Fowler jars, I just put an old ring around just so it's sealed enough for dried herbs, for something that has been dehydrated. And I keep a clip on the lid, and this works perfectly fine. By the way, I will take you on a kitchen tour eventually. We've just got a few more things to complete in the kitchen before it's finished. So in the new year, I shall take you around and show you. But I'm really excited to show you some of the storage solutions that we've come up with in our kitchen. So here I have the beetroot. I've just got to cut off all of these leaves and decide which ones I'm going to process. So obviously I'm not going to process ones that look like this. They've gone old and they're just not going to be any good. I've also harvested this cabbage this morning. I'm going to use this in dinner tonight. So I will leave that aside for now. So I need to chop them off and clean them, and then we can get to beginning the preserving process. One thing you need to do when you're working with beetroot is wear an apron, because you might get red stains all over you. However, I have got two varieties here. The golden beetroot, I believe, or it could be golden Detroit. I'll write the name on the screen. And this one here, these don't bleed. However, this variety here, it definitely does. And you can tell by the skin. So the skin is much darker, the leaves are darker. These ones are lighter, and yeah, they just don't bleed at all. I have preserved some of these ones in a jar by themselves, and the liquid is just like clear basically. So it's quite interesting. You have got some varieties there if you're worried about, you know, staining your hands and having red hands for a while. This variety will definitely stain. And this one too, the cylindra beetroot, they will definitely stain your hands as well. But I've got quite a few of the ones that won't. So I've also got earwigs coming out everywhere. So that's one thing, as well as the ladybirds. All right, I'm going to chop these leaves off, and then we're going to give the bulbs a clean. So the next thing we need to do is get the skins off the beetroot. So boil them up and then simmer them for as long as it takes for the skin to start breaking off easily. We want it to just basically fall off the beetroot. Excuse the dishwasher on in the background and the dogs making noises as well. But the next step is to make the liquid that will go in with the beetroots that we will slice up. So I'm using, as always, a pickled beetroot recipe in this book by Sally Wise. This is a fantastic book, and if you don't have it already, it's by Sally Wise, is Australian, and she has the best recipes in here. But I have the pickled beetroot recipe, and it calls for all these spices. So we've got cinnamon, allspice, cloves, black peppers, and we've also got salt. I've got to get some vinegar, some white vinegar out, and some sugar as well. And I'm going to mix all of those together, and that's going to make the liquid that will go in with the sliced beetroot. This is the safest mandolin I could find. It has different cutting settings, but I basically use the same one over and over again. So I'm just going to pop the beetroots in here and slice them and then fill them into the jars. Also, my chickens are going to love all of these beetroot skins. Okay, I've only managed to fill 3 jars, which is, well, this one isn't even really full. So this is very uncommon for me. I usually have a whole heap of jars that I fill, but because my mum's already preserved part of that harvest, and this is the next little bit, there is a tiny bit more left in the garden as well, but I'm just going to leave it at this. So what I need to do is pop these in the water bathing unit after I fill them with the liquid. And yeah, I'm going to have to put some empty jars in the water bathing unit to ensure that these don't tip over while it's bubbling away. And I put it in the water bath for almost an hour. These beetroots were cooked too much. I could have taken them off the heat. I got a little bit distracted and left them on the heat for a bit too long. So some of them are falling apart. I do find the ones that don't bleed, they can fall apart a lot more than the really red ones. So maybe next time I cook them in separate pots and I do these ones for less time, because as you can see, some of them have broken apart. But all of this will be consumed because the little tiny pieces get put in salads and stuff anyway, so nothing will go to waste. So I just give these jars a little tap to get rid of the air bubbles. You might want to send a tool down, like a knife or a spoon or something flat like a chopstick, to get rid of some of the air bubbles if they don't move by tapping them. I find that most of them disappear when I tap them, but there are a few air bubbles down here, especially a big one just right at the bottom here. So I'm going to grab a chopstick. So this is a clean chopstick that's been sanitized, and I'm just going to poke down the bottom, trying not to upset the beetroot too much. All right, that looks good. Now this one here, I think just a few bubbles there. Here we go. All right, and we'll top this one up with some more of the liquid. I'm going to have a little bit more liquid than I normally run out of the liquid. Okay, so we just want to wipe the rims, and I use this little bit of muslin that I have that I just use for these things. And if we don't have them clean, then it won't seal well. So we really need to make sure that we do that. And I've got brand new seals because I want these to seal and be able to stay in the pantry for a long while. And pop the lid on, and then we pop the clip over the top like that. Well, I have finished the pickled beetroot. I have 3 jars over there. Normally I'd like to fill the entire water bathing unit before I turn it on. Luckily we're on solar power, so in a way, I'm not wasting power. And I always use the hot water that is in the unit to wash the dishes with later. So I'm going to do that soon, and later on I'm going to make a frittata with the tops of the beetroot. But that is it for today, my friends. Thank you for watching and coming along with me. I'm cooking some asparagus for lunch, so I'm going to go off and have my lunch, and I look forward to seeing you next time.